Barnabas laid the gift at the feet of the apostles, he was probably expecting something big to happen. Now let me ask this question. As your leader, do you ever want me to shrink in challenging you from the vision that God has for us? Are you sure? Do you ever want me to shrink from the vision that God has for us? All right, well, some of you are like, I don't know. I'm going to ask you one more time. Do you ever want me to shrink from the vision that God has for us? Okay, so there's good news. Psalm 50:10 says, "For every beast of the forest is mine, the cattle on 1,000 hills." What that means is that all the steak we can eat belongs to Jesus, and He's not stingy with His portions. That's pretty cool, right? So all of it belongs to Jesus. So the good news is that God has given us the money in order to accomplish the vision that He has for us in 2012. Isn't that good news? He's given it to us. Isn't it good news? He owns the cattle on 1,000. Isn't that good news? Here's the bad news. It's still in your bank account. Seriously. The good news is that it's all His. He's provided. And the bad news is it's still in your bank account. What are we expecting? I'm glad I asked. Okay, so let me paint a picture of 2012, what you can expect. And I want to show you this picture of expectation. Just look at this picture of expectation. This is from our 217 kids camp. Our 217 kids camp. I remember this. I remember this moment. This little one just gets off the bus and just like, I'm going. And I love that picture. That should be in like Time magazine or something. But I love this picture because it's expectation. Doesn't that communicate expectation? So, expecting big from God. We're going to run into the vision. Run into what God has for us with our next generation vision. And this message specifically is about through this Christmas season, here's what we're going to do. We are asking you to pray about what God would have you give to this next generation given. And it comes in 3 parts. The first part of the vision is this. The first part of our next generation vision is our next generation of kids. From day one, it's all about kids. It's all about kids. When kids find Jesus, I get happy. Because Jesus said, let the little ones come to me. So we put this dollar amount. We're going to invest $50,000. $50,000 into the next generation of kids. Now, everything we do that's project-oriented, it's about kids. $50,000. Next weekend, when we come back, we're going to go a little bit deeper into this, and we're going to get some nuts and bolts of what it really means to do this and some specific events that we're going to do. But $50,000. So our next generation, and we're wrapping this around our Christmas season, the next generation of Christmas and our Christmas offering. So the first part is $50,000. Kids. The second part is our youth. So our next generation offering, we're praying that God, through you, $50,000. Now that's in addition to. Okay, that's not, that's already covered. That's $100,000. Now whenever we do this, people start to get nervous. You notice that? People look at it and they go, their eyes they ever get really big when you see zeros or something like that? For our youth, let's think about our youth. Right now there's probably 50 kids that come and go in the youth ministry, 50 different kids. We want that to double this year. We've invested in the youth center. It takes resources to run. Our whole youth ministry, basically our whole youth ministry budget is here. We're getting a bus this week. Probably next week it's going to roll up. You're going to see it. It's all for kids. It's all for youth. So that's $100,000. $100,000 we're asking by the end of December this year. Now that's not all. As we look to the future, here's what we want to do. We want to take 217 Church and we want to create what is called another site, another worship service on Sunday morning for 217 Church in another physical location. We don't know exactly where that's going to be yet, but we want to make another site. Another site. It's called a multi-site. And we want to do that because we want to reach as many people as we possibly can for the gospel. That means that on Sunday morning, by February of 2013, we should be a church of 500. Right now, we're about between 300 and 350 on a given Sunday. we should be a church of 500. So we're asking God, we're stepping out in faith, that we would start a multi-site by February, by our 3rd anniversary, February of 2013. That's the next step that we believe God is taking us to. That means that look around. I want you to look around. You see an empty seat? Fill it. I'm not talking about cloning yourself. I'm talking about bringing someone. I'm talking about praying to God that people would find this to be their church home. You've got to invite people. So that's a big part of our vision. So as we start a new site, and what we want to do is we want to fund it initially for 18 months. We want to fund the new site for 18 months. We are going to ask some of you to go from here and make a new site your new place where you worship on Sunday mornings. We're going to ask you to go. This year, we'll be building a leadership team for that site to launch it strong. So you say, well, how much does that cost? We've done the math, due diligence. It's about $250,000. Now, if you add 250 plus 50 plus 50, now I was never that good at math, but what is it? $350,000. So here we go. You ready for this? Here's the good news. The good news is, and you might not be able to even believe this, because I look at it and I can't even believe it. We've already received, through generous gifts, $250,000 for this. Now, I don't know if you just heard what I said, but I don't know why you're sitting on your butt. I'm totally serious. I mean, I know it's not about the money, but when God gives you a vision and then says, oh, by the way, that's not going to be an issue, think about that. Think about that. God has moved in a mighty way. People are going to come to Jesus. Do you know that? And you get to be a part of it. You get to be a part of it. So that's $250,000. Now, I've been told that by next week, there'll be another $50,000 in. There's more gifts coming in of $50,000. So we already actually have $300,000 of that. Seriously. Money's not the issue, guys. I was blown away, humbled, by these gifts, and seriously, think about that. So, what I'm asking today is by the end of Christmas, can we all come together and give another $50,000 to make this vision happen?